can burn. I'm keeping my lamp full, waiting on the bridegroom. Cause when the kingdom comes, say I wanna be ready.
Hello, welcome back to Lambo Stock. Today, we're going to be talking about men, women, and relationships, because there's a lot of people out there who have their ideas and thoughts on what a man's role is, what a female's role is, how the dynamic of a relationship works, and we just want to give our 2 cents, and so we are.
Can we give a nickel?
Nah, you're just putting too much on your opinion. So let's.
Okay. Okay.
Let's start this off with, let's talk about, in the beginning, Adam and Eve were created. And a lot of people say, well, see, God made man first, therefore God loves man more, and that's just stupid. There were 2 people created. One had to be created first. It makes sense that he made the man first, since he gave the man rulership over the female. Or what he did was say that the man has the final say, that he has the most responsibility out of the 2 people.
Okay, now wait. I got to take the opposite opinion for a moment.
I don't care.
No. I mean, I'm sure you don't, but
I mean, a man should be seen and not heard.
Oh wow, that's children. But let's take this on. Hold on. Wait just a second here. Hold on. In the absolute beginning of the Bible,
right?
We get to day 6. He makes man,
right?
And then he sees that man is alone,
right?
And that's not good. So he makes a helpmate for man.
Right.
Okay. Now, at that point in the story, it does not say that man has dominion over woman. That's not where that is.
Right.
All right. So to say because God made man first, he would, his intent was. That's not what it says.
Well, it doesn't say that, but I read past that first, couple of lines.
Right.
And so I know what it says a little bit later.
Okay.
And I also know, if we go deeper in the book, it says that God knows the end from the beginning.
Okay.
So in the beginning, he created man, but he already knew what the end was, and that he had already made women.
Okay. So no, mean that he was going to make women.
Well, whatever.
Whatever. Okay, I got it. So you're right. Now I'm with you. Genesis 3 is where he says, because of your actions, Eve, your desire will be to your husband, and he will have dominion over you.
Right.
Okay, and that's the part that you're talking about.
Right.
Okay.
If we, in Genesis 3, verse 16,
right,
which states something.
I paraphrased it.
King James Bible. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
Right. Now this is what happens because of what happened in the garden.
Right.
Okay.
So if 2 people are together, 2 or more people together, and they're working together, someone has to be the one that has the final say.
That's correct.
In order to, if there is a division on agreement, if they don't agree that this should be done or that should be done, somebody has to have the final say.
Right.
If not, nothing will get done.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'll go off and do this, and they'll go off and do that. So the man has the final say in a relationship. And one of the things that I find is that when you hear a lot of people talking, or at least, I don't even know how many people are actually doing it, but when you hear people on the internet or whatever speaking about it, it makes a lot of times it makes it seem as if the woman is a second-class citizen when she's called a helpmate in the Bible, and they use this rule over as a way of giving themselves power and what is it? and justification for things that they do. And yet, when I read the Bible, I don't see it that way, because it seems like a lot of men take the blessing from it, right? I can tell my wife what to do, and she better do this or she better do that, or they'll talk about how well a man runs his house if his woman keeps her mouth shut and
Right.
and
Right.
does whatever he says. So they seem to take a lot of the blessing part from it, but they don't seem to take any of the curse part from it, because if you look at a leader of a nation, like when Moses was the leader and he was leading us out of Egypt. Yeah, you had people in his camp who were complaining and stuff about his leadership and the way he was doing stuff. And they were jealous because he got the final say and he was able to do this. But they didn't realize how much of a burden that having that responsibility was on him. So if you are a good leader, then it is a huge burden or a huge weight that's put upon your shoulders, because it is your responsibility to make sure everything goes correctly.
Okay, so I got to use an example for just a second. As you know, but not everybody else does, I spent a large portion of my life in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the military gives a great example of how this rule over works. You start off in the military, and your entire job is to follow orders. That's it. Your entire job is to follow orders and learn what it means to serve.
Right.
Now, once you master that and you understand what it means to actually serve, they then put you into a position to give orders. But it is your job as that person higher to serve the people underneath you. It is your responsibility to show them what right looks like and to keep them protected. It is a huge burden because now you're responsible for all of the people that are underneath you. That is the idea. Okay, that's the point.
Exactly. If you look at Christ, he said that he had to be a servant. So, he washed the feet of the apostles, because he was showing that, yes, he is a ruler, and yet in order to be a ruler, you have to first be a servant. And I think that's something that's missing in today's society. And it's a societal thing, not an Israelite thing. Because you will see even children as they're being raised, you'll see where the woman or the female has to do this or that, woman's work. And the man, well, he has to do some manly work, but then he has a lot of being able to do whatever he wants to, where the female child doesn't have that much ability to do and go and come as she would like. And I know that it seems that the man is not taught or given too much freedom as a child, and then they take that into their adult life and they don't understand it. So when they get into a place of rulership, they think all these benefits and very little responsibility, and then they believe that is the manly way to be.
Right. Okay. Let me try and break that down. Okay. I'm with you, but I'm a little lost there for a second. So let me try and break this down just a second here. Okay. So first off, let me start off with the reason we're making this video while we're talking about it, because we see a lot of Israelites mimicking what the world does or talking about it in the same way the world talks about it, and not a biblically based kind of idea. Right? That's
Right.
what we start off with. So, by reading or cherry picking a few lines out of the Bible, people seem to justify what they're doing.
Right.
Okay.
But let me explain that scenario again
A little better?
a little better. Okay, so as I was growing up,
Right.
as a female,
Yep.
I had to learn how to cook and clean, and there were ways that I had to dress that was modest, and there were things I couldn't do because that's not what little girls do,
Right.
right? But my brothers, they had some responsibility that was they had to cut the grass once a week, you know, and if there was something that, you know, take out the trash, because that was a manly thing. But they didn't have a lot of the restrictions that I did, you know, and that they were free to run the streets, go here and go there and do whatever they wanted to, because that was a man thing. But I was always at home because there's always cooking to do, you know, especially, you know, I lived with my grandparents, so there was breakfast, there was lunch, there was dinner. There was always cooking. That meant there was always cleaning, washing clothes, washing dishes. There was always work to do, so I didn't have that free time. And then you would have my brothers, they would talk strongly to, you know, my mom, and my dad would let a lot of that stuff go. But if I tried to talk strongly to my mom, then, you know, hell would rain down on me, because that's not the way I should do it. If you look at our dress, you know, I always had to dress a certain type of way. But men could go outside half naked, and there was nothing wrong with that. So we were raised differently, and it gives the man this idea that somehow he is better than the female, or that he has all of this power or rights that the females don't have.
And it's not ever actually said. It's not said, it's shown that way.
Right. And why can't I do this? Because you're a girl. Why does he get to do that? Because he's a boy.
Right. So now let's talk about our house for
Right.
just a second. So we've got 6 kids,
Uh-huh.
and some of them are boys and some of them are girls.
Right.
But in reading the Bible, you know, in our understanding and growth of it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see, or I have not seen anywhere where it says men can't cook, men can't do dishes, men can't do laundry. It doesn't say that anywhere.
Right.
So, and also growing up in the Army, and I know this is a bit of an example, you know, a bit of the worldly kind of example here. But if you don't know what it takes to make a meal, if you don't know what it takes to do laundry, clean the house, if you don't know what it takes to do those type of things, how exactly can you lead it? I mean, you can tell people to do it, but if you don't know what it takes to do it yourself, if you've never done it or experienced it yourself, where you had to have that kind of responsibility, putting that burden on someone else, you know, when you just drop it on somebody else, you don't know what you're telling them to do. You don't understand it. You know,
Right.
even if you've seen it happen, you still just don't know what it means unless you've done it yourself.
And you also lose a lot of the compassion that you might have for someone else, because you don't understand what it is that they're doing or what they're going through. You know, a lot of people make comments that a housewife, you know, they just have this great life. They don't really do anything.
Right.
You know, especially once the children start going to school. You know, they just watch soap operas all day.
That does not happen. I know it doesn't happen in our house. It has not happened.
And because it's a different type of work than someone who goes out there and does a job. For someone else who goes out there and gets a paycheck. It's a different type of work. And so people who've never stayed at home and dealt with raising the kids, trying to keep the house together, don't seem to feel as if that is valuable.
Right.
And yet the Bible seems to think differently, because raising the children is the most valuable thing out there, but
Right.
but it's not valued in our society.
Right. That's true. Now, see, I got another Bible example for just a second. Okay, so what this reminds me of is the Joseph story. And I know this is going to be a little weird, but bear with me for just a second.
I'll try.
Thanks. So Joseph is at home, and he's taught to read, to write, all those type of schooling sort of things, right? And the other boys are sent out to work with the sheep or work with the animals and the farm and those type of things, right? And the ones that are sent out look back at Joseph, and they're very jealous of what's going on with Joseph, because they don't have any idea what he's doing. You know, they just don't know how much work he is being, that's happening to him. Now, we know later on that he has not only learned his own language, he's learned the Egyptian language, he's learned, all these types of things in the Bible. He's learned all kinds of stuff. But it's very different knowledge than what the boys that are out there doing.
Right.
And it seems to remind me of this same sort of divide. If you have a child that is brought up with the idea that that you're just going to do, I'm going to label it this way, man work. You're mowing the yard, you're taking out the grass, you're taking out the trash, grass, whatever. You're taking out the trash and those type of things. And then you grow up and you get some sort of job and you go out and do things out in the world. You get married and you look at your significant other, your wife, like she doesn't do anything. She's just at the house.
Right.
And she's not doing anything.
If you look at that story of Joseph, it taking it from the housewife's point of view, I'm going to be Joseph, right? Joseph looked at his brothers and he was upset and he was jealous that he didn't get to spend the time with his brothers that the other ones got to do, that
Right.
he didn't get to go out and see those things that his brothers were doing and be able to participate in those things. And so he was jealous of them in a way, the same way they were jealous of him.
Right.
But they couldn't see his point of view or his side or the struggles that he was going through, because they only could see the struggles that they were dealing with.
Right. Now this breeds it. No, I'm sorry. You go right ahead.
And so I think that that is a big issue that me and my husband have had in our relationship, because I feel like I have to stay. I have to stay at home and take care of the kids, and yeah, I love my children, but they don't really help with my mental processes. They're
You mean loneliness? Just say it that way.
They're younger than me, so having a conversation, an adult conversation with them, is very difficult. So they don't help me in that context. And I look at my husband, and he gets to go out and he gets to see people and he gets to have these conversations. Yeah, he's doing work, but so what? He gets to do all of these things. He can decide to just go to the store if he wants to, and he can buy him a soda if he wants to, but I can't do any of those things. And a lot of times I feel some jealousy in that point. And yet what I'm doing here with my children, I wouldn't give up. I don't want to switch positions, but I do sometimes feel as if he's not as understanding of what I'm going through when he comes home.
Right.
Because, what do I do? What do housewives do? They don't do anything.
See, and that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Now, I'm not trying to turn this into a therapy session, but this jealousy is a thing that Israelites in the world have to deal with. Well, let me put it this way: people in their relationships have got to deal with this and work inside their relationship to fix. It's just a problem that can creep up. We've had it. I'm sure other people have had it as well. And I think it does stem, from that worldly thought that men have men jobs and women have women jobs, and you're just not going to understand it. Where I don't think the Bible supports that. To me, the children should learn to do everything. Men and women should learn to do everything. And then, as they grow and progress and have their own families, each side is going to have a better understanding of what the other is doing. And
Right.
then, see, to me, then you can hopefully appreciate the work that's happening over here or out there. Either way, you can appreciate it when it takes place. It's not a matter of I come home and my house is clean, and that's just the way it ought to be. It's more of I come home and my house is clean, and that's great, because think of what it could have been. Think of what it could have been. Like with us, we've got 6 kids wandering around, moving stuff, doing all kinds of things, making messes, and you're able to organize them, get that crap out of the house, clean it up, all those type of things.
Or I'm not, and then it's what it is. But as the wife, I have more on my plate than just making sure my house is clean,
Right.
and the dinner is fixed, because I am the person who is teaching my children how they should be. I am molding them into Israelites. I am molding them into good people. I am trying to show them and teach them how they should act, and at the same time, I'm trying to allow them the freedom to expand and get involved in things that are going to help them. All of my children, male and females, know how to cook.
They're not good at it, but they
Some
know
are
how
a lot
to do it.
better than others, because some just kind of refuse.
But they've seen it. I mean, they know how.
I've made them do it, so they could do it if they were forced to, but only if they were forced to. All of them know how to clean, and still, at the same time, all of them know how to start a garden, how to plant a garden, how to pull the weeds, how to do those things, and take care of the animals that we have. Now, some, of course, are better at these tasks than others, because I believe that you should build up a person's strengths and let their helpmeet worry about their weaknesses. Instead of trying to build everything up, because nobody is going to be great at everything. So I want to help people with what they're good at and strengthen those, and the other stuff they can worry about later.
No, wait a minute. I want to use that word you just used just a second. I want to come back to helpmate for a second.
Okay.
Okay, so the helpmate idea is, in a biblical sort of sense, the idea is a family is stronger than any individual.
Right.
Right? And the reason that they're stronger is because each individual has things that they're good at, and the helpmate is there to help them with the things that they're not as good at.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's kind of the idea, making a strong central thing as opposed to two individuals, one strong in some things, one strong in another.
Right. Right. Because, like I said, nobody can be great at everything. So to try to force someone to be great at something that they're weak in is just crazy. Um, what I do, or at least I try to do in my relationship, is I allow my husband to handle everything that he's
You allow?
good at. Yes, I allow you to handle those
I thought we
things.
just worked together on this. No, you allow.
I allow you to
Oh,
handle
that's what it
those
is.
things. And then I try to take up the slack wherever there is something that he's not able to handle or that he's not as good at. So um, I bring in my part, and while allowing him to do his part.
You allow. I love it. It's
Yes,
great.
I allow, because I can't do everything, because I would like to. That's just me. I'd like to supervise and control everything about my surroundings, but I realize that I can't, and or at least not efficiently.
Okay, so let's hit something. Let's talk about a couple of things for a second here. Allow. Oh, I love it. It's great. Okay, so I do want to talk about this for a moment, because the whole idea was talking about relationships.
Right.
And I do want to hit this for a second. The point of a relationship, the point of a family, is to get to the Most High. That is the idea. For any individual is to get to the Most High, and as a family unit, to get the family to the Most High. This is always the goal. The goal is always to the Most High.
Right.
Okay, so with one person being stronger than the other person in some aspects, and vice versa, it makes the entire unit able to get to the Most High more efficiently, better, I guess is the way to say it.
Right.
And if you think about it for just a second, the role of a husband is to provide and protect,
Right.
right? And the role of the wife is to guide and nurture. Now, I say it that way. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes.
Ouch.
I wasn't trying to. But the idea is that both sides come together and say, what is the best way for our family to get to the Most High? And let's show our children the right way to do it, and that's where we're going.
Right. When my husband and I first got together, we both worked for a little while, and then I quit working because I'm not real good at it. I don't have those people skills that my husband
You don't
does.
say. You don't say.
And I never had to work. I always worked if I felt like it, but if you upset me, or if there was something else I wanted to do, I just quit and moved on with my day. Knowing that my family would take care of any issues that I had. So when we got together, my mouth kind of overrode my good sense, not because I didn't understand the right things to say. I just refused to say them in order to pacify someone else.
Right.
So my husband, he goes out and he works, and he's able to do that, and he takes care of speaking to people who have concerns about whatever, because they would not want to speak to me. I remember our kids going to school, and they would beg my husband to come speak to them if there was an issue instead of me, because I just, I just say what's on my mind all the time, because I feel better that way. And I don't care how you feel, because I'm going to feel all right at the end of it. But that's just who I am. So it's not best that I speak to people who aren't going to be in agreement with me And as you know, dealing with the world, most of the time people aren't going to be in agreement with you. And my husband has this way of putting people off, and making them feel, you know, good. And I just can't stand it. But he's good at it, so that's what he does. And I, on the other hand, I make plans of how I think we should go and the things that what I think we should do and how we can accomplish those goals. And then I talk to my husband about it, and then he either helps me to do those things when it comes to the house and the family, or he explains to me why we can't do those things, and we do other things. But when it comes to the money, the bills, those types of things that is his bag, I pretty much stay out of it. I generally don't know anything about that stuff, because if I find out information about that stuff, then I start trying to plan and figure out and change, and you know, that's just stressful, and I don't want that. So
Okay, now wait a minute. I want to move this around more generally. This is what we do, and we've come to this agreement over time, talking about what's best for our own for us. What I mean by that is our end goal is to get to the Most High. We have milestones on trips to get there, on things we want to do to get there. So that's how we put it together. But it's totally conceivable. Well, I would suggest every couple set together, decide what it is they are trying to accomplish, who's best at what thing, and then do those things. It's not a matter of this is women's work, this is men's work, and we're each doing those things separately, and that's just what we're doing. The example I've got for this is the job that I have right this moment, right? Not trying to get into specifics, but we are where we are because what we were doing, after talking to my wife about it, wasn't going to work out. We had to do something else. So we talked about it and said, okay. She's like, hey, listen, if you want to quit the job you're at and do a different job, we're okay. We can do that, which is what ended up happening. I had a job and it was traveling all over the place, and it wasn't a very good job. And my wife was like, look, if you want to leave that job, that's fine. As long as we can, we can get our act together, let's do it. I support you. I got your back. Let's make that happen. And that is, that to me is the ultimate, the biggest of setups, where I can go to my wife and say, I've got this issue or I've got this problem. Let's figure out together what would be the best solution to deal with it. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, because oftentimes I screw it up. This is true. We get in fights all the time. But that is the idea, that we are helpmating each other. We're working together to continue on the path that we're going down.
the biggest thing is, I in a relationship is support. My husband has not had a job that I said, oh, you can never quit. You have to, because I don't care. His job is to bring home money to support us, because I don't work. So as long as he is working, which job he's working at is irrelevant. I do require that he find a job that allows us to remember the Sabbath, but that's kind of irrelevant because he requires that he finds a job that allows us to worship on the Sabbath. So the thing is support. I'm going to support my husband in every way, because we are, as a family, we survive be with him, and if he is not doing those things, then we fail. And it's not necessarily even working, because if for some reason he decided that he had to quit a job and there was no money coming in, then I would still support him. You know, living under a bridge is an option, but not supporting him is not an option, because he, you know, the family lives and thrives with us, or it falls because we aren't together.
Now, I want to take that thought for just a second, okay, and bring this back to why we're making this video for just a moment. We watch a lot of Israelite videos that are out there in the world. We watch a lot of them, right? And there's several groups that try to make it seem like the man is all important, he is the leader, and because he is the leader, he is above reproach. And anything that's wrong with the black family, that's the woman's fault.
That's right.
And
So
I can't stand that, because if the guy is in charge and he is responsible for everything, then what's wrong with the black family is the man's fault. Because he made the final decision, it's his fault.
he made the final decision, or he what's a word that's better than or he was too weak to make the final decision. You know, when we were younger, because I have a very strong personality, sometimes my husband would say, well, if you would let me lead. And I used to tell him that I can't let you lead. A leader leads. So if you want to lead, what you have to do is lead. And, you know, that to some people sounds crazy, or they can't understand that. But I am a leader, and I lead, and that's just what I do. I don't sit back and wait for someone to give me permission to lead. Now, so I will lead a group of people, or I will lead myself. I don't need anybody to follow me because I'm leading. That's just what I do. Now, if with my husband, when he leads, I follow his thing. I follow what he says because I'm trying to go in the same direction as him. And so if he chose to lead, I will follow. But in a lot of cases, we've already set our goals, and we've already set where we're going. So it's not really so much as a lead thing now. It's just putting the pieces in places, or taking the steps to get there.
Well, see, this is the other issue. This is the other side of that issue. I'm totally with you. What ends up happening, or sounds like it happens in a lot of these videos, is you have strong black women who end up with these weak men for whatever reason, and their version of leading is to just tell their woman to shut up and they're going to do things.
Right.
And that is so wrong for the black family, because good leadership is setting good goals with the person, you know, with your significant other, to get to where you're going. That's what good leadership is. And then showing a good example of what it means to be going to the Most High. That's what a man's job is.
Right, but some people believe that good leadership means that you are on top of somebody, yelling, screaming, and hollering at them to do this or to do that. And that's not, that is the opposite of good leadership. that is bad leadership.
That's just yelling commands.
Yeah, once you set your course, then you need to be going that way, and those other people will jump in line with that course, or they'll go off. And you know, as a mother who's raising 6 children, and at the point half of them are grown, I have set a course for my children. And yes, sometimes I go and I go off and I just start yelling at everybody because they don't seem to be doing what I've told them to do. But most of the time, I just sat back. I just sit back and watch and see what they're going to do. I give them enough time to think about and figure out how they're going to jump in line with my course in order so that they can learn through their mistakes. Because what you want is not someone who is scared of you, who fears you. What you want is someone who's going to come after you willingly, who wants to follow and come after you. And so if I just, yelled and beat my children constantly, they'd be doing it because I forced them to. So they wouldn't do it when I wasn't around.
Right. Right. See, that's what we're talking about when we say this is what a good Israelite looks like. This is what a good Israelite family looks like. And when I say that, I mean we're talking about a couple, mother and father, so that the kids have an idea of what a good family looks like. So when they form their own families, they're doing that same thing.
So we just not too long ago celebrated Purim.
Right.
And in Purim, there's a story about a king, and he summons his wife to come to his side, and she refuses to come. And this is how Esther ends up becoming queen, right? So she refuses to come, and the king makes a decree that she's to be kicked out of the palace, that all of these things are that she's going to lose her position as queen or whatever, because he's afraid that otherwise will see that she disobeyed her husband and do that same thing if he doesn't make this strong statement at disapproval at what she did. And so I look at our men, and it seems as if they believe that what he did was right, because she should have been forced to do whatever the king told her to. And the Bible tells me, it says not to do as the heathen does and not to learn any of his ways. Well, this seems like this is a heathen king, and this man has all of this ability to just make a command, and the woman's supposed to run and bow down to him. This seems like it is their ways, because when you look at the stories of the male and female relationships in the Israelite family, it doesn't seem to go exactly that way. If you look at Abraham and his wife, when his wife told him to get rid of Haggai and his son, Abraham was distraught over it, and he went to the Most High over it, but he didn't tell that woman to shut up and go away.
Right.
He didn't say, I'm the man and I do what I want. Later on, when he decides to go visit Ishmael, because they had been sent away, and his wife tells him that he better not get down off that camel, he didn't say, woman, I'm the man and I do what I want. You shut up and get in there and fix my food and clean my house. He said, yes, ma'am. And he didn't come off that camel when he went to visit his son. So the fact that in today's society, we try to take away the woman's power by saying that she has none because there's a man, just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. If you look at the Bible stories, women and their wisdom have saved their families, at least their families, from a lot of bad stuff, because the man listened to his wife or listened to that woman in order to make good decisions.
Now, I want to take that for just a second. I want to look at something. One of the things that we talk about on a regular basis is we both go through the Bible like we do to make these videos, all the time. And one of the things that when we talk about it offline, we'll talk about how you read in the Bible more than I do.
Right.
Because I'm out doing things and
because I got him working.
That's what it is.
Got to bring home that bacon.
No.
Turkey bacon.
Thank you. There is no bacon up in here. Right. So you'll read more than I do. But there's an actual reason for that. One of the things is, as we read through the Bible, the point of a wife being home reading more than the husband is doing is that I am supposed to be on the path going to the Most High.
Right.
But if I start to step off, you need to know what right looks like according to the Bible and pull me back in the right direction. And if you were to start to step off, I need to know what right looks like to pull you back into the right direction. The whole idea is so that the family is always going in the correct path.
Correct. If you look at another story in the Bible, you have the Jezebel story. Mm-hmm. And you hear a lot of black men who want to call every woman they see who is not bowing down and very subservient to their husbands, Jezebel. And that's because Jezebel is a famous figure in the Bible. But they don't understand who Jezebel was, because Jezebel, one, was not an Israelite woman. She was a woman who was raised up worshiping many gods and performing witchcraft that the king married. Mm-hmm. And then the king married this person, he was wrong in the first place, but then he looks to this person, he loves this person, and there are things that he wants, but according to the law in the Bible, he couldn't get. And his wife, using her witchcraft and her practices, did things in order to give her husband his heart's desire. So, a lot of people look at the Jezebel story and they only see this woman who was wicked and evil. But they don't see that this wicked and evil woman was doing these things in order to lift up her wicked and evil husband.
And it does say that as a quote somewhere, a wicked man will have a wicked wife, or something to that effect.
Right, an evil husband has an evil wife. So,
and I don't have the exact quote for that, but that's the thing.
So when we look at that story, yes, she was evil, no doubt. She was very evil and wicked. But that's because she didn't care about the Bible. She didn't care about the Most High. She only cared about making her husband happy and bringing power and success to their family or their rulership, which this couldn't have happened if it was an Israelite woman, because they would have been yoked together. She would have been going towards the Most High. He would have been going towards the Most High. So she wouldn't have gone off and done all of these evil things, because their goals would have been different. His head wouldn't have been doing those things, because you also see a story in the Bible where there was a wicked husband, but he had a good wife, and the wife did not follow along with the evil that the husband was trying to do.
Right.
And in that case, the wife is spared and the husband is killed.
See, and this is the thing with the Jezebel reference, which seems to be made by a lot of channels.
Right.
The Jezebel reference has nothing to do with what she said. It has to do with how loud she said it. So they will say a woman has a Jezebel spirit if she's strong, if she's loud, if she's those type of things. If she is a strong, proud woman, they'll say she has a Jezebel spirit because she's not demure and quiet.
Right.
But that's not the point. The Jezebel spirit is this unlimited desire to bolster, can be an unlimited spirit to bolster the husband, who, if the husband is off in left field doing his own things, it's going to push them even further off.
Now, on the other side, you have a lot of black women who are trying to say that black women are this this special thing that needs to be worshipped. Black women are not something that need to be worshipped. That's crazy. I am a female, and I should be respected. And I am stronger because I have found my husband, and we together should be respected, both of us, not one put on a pedestal over the other. We are, what is it, when you get married, you become one. So we are one. How can you put one of us on a pedestal without putting us both on that pedestal? It doesn't make sense. We are a couple, and we either do good or we do bad. But there's, because a lot of weak men want to push down the woman in order to make themselves seem strong. You have the reverse of that, where a lot of weak women want to push down the man in order to make themselves strong. And in either one of those scenarios, you are messing up the system that the Most High put here. We are supposed to be together, helping each other, raising each other up.
I think that's why he uses the word helpmate
instead of servant.
Yes, I think that is exactly why he uses the word helpmate instead of servant. Now, I know later on he uses ruled over or dominion of. I understand that, and I think that is to explain that final decision. The idea is the final decision, but the original setup is the help work together. I think that is the original idea, is the work together. And no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so when you look at it, I cook and clean in the house very rarely. I have children. So did I used to before? I did, until I didn't anymore. So much. I do as I want. As far as what I feel is important for this day or that day in the house. And my husband, he comes home and he supports me in whatever it is that I did or didn't do, because I'm not his servant. If he comes home at 6 and he's hungry and there's food, then good, he got food at 6. If he comes home at 6 and he's hungry and there's not food, well, good, he's got to figure out something, or he's got to wait until whatever plan I had planned was done. If he wanted a servant, which I do, I want plenty of servants, then he should hire them the same way everybody else gets a servant. That's my opinion on it, and it's not an opinion that has changed. I told him that when we first got together. I'm not your slave. I'm not your servant. If you want a maid, hire one. I'll take it. So, but I do what I believe. I try to do the best for my family, and so if that's cooking and cleaning, or cutting the grass, or digging a ditch, or hoeing a field, I try to do what I can to help my family out. And it's the same with him. Um, I would like to have a lot of money so I could just spend on and buy everything I want and need. But if he provides that, that's wonderful. If he's able to. If he doesn't, oh well. But that's the way our family works. But if my husband was unable to work, and there's been a time where he had lost his job and couldn't find one, and I went out and got a job because he couldn't at the time provide the financial assistance that we needed, so I went out to try to help in that area. But that did not diminish him in my eyesight. And today we have a lot of our men who have been thrown in jail, who have had issues that it makes it very difficult on them to find a job, especially, working for a company. Maybe they do trades or do a little this or a little that. And so the women have to take on the role of helping with providing. And that should not diminish the role of the husband in any way, shape, or form. He is still the provider. When my husband wasn't working and I was, I did not all of a sudden elevate in our relationship. Nothing about our relationship changed except for who was watching the child, who was taking care of the child. So money is not what is important. What is it? The root of all evil.
Money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, so that's not what's important. God has determined how the order in a relationship is, and who is doing what does not change that order. So a lot of households, what if your husband is unable to work for some reason? Paralyzed, gone to prison, whatever, sick. Does that mean that now he is less of a man because he doesn't go out and work? No. What if the woman would make more money in a job than the husband would? So the woman goes out to work and the husband stays home and takes care of the children and does those things that need to be done. On the home side, does that make the dynamics in the relationship different? No, it doesn't, or it shouldn't, because money is a tool, and it's not even the most important tool.
It's just a part of it.
Yeah.
It's just a part of it, and that is the point that we're trying to get to, I think. And this is the thing: the goal of each individual should be, as an Israelite, to get to the Most High. The goal of the family as a group is to get to the Most High. And the Most High has told us, has laid out how the family structure works. The Most High, it is a man is following the Most High, a woman is following her husband, and the children are following the wife. Right? And that is the goal. Everyone is leading into the same direction.
So let's talk about some silly, insignificant things like dress. How should a woman dress? She should dress modestly. What does that mean? Well, it depends on where she is, where she lives, what are the customs of that place as to what is modesty. Because I can't determine that. Neither can someone else, just because they feel like this is modest or not modest, determine that. I think that you, as a believer in the Most High, as you are going on your journey to get closer to Him, if it's true, you will start changing your wardrobe to match what you believe He would be happy with. And so that is not something there's no diagram someone could put out and say, okay, this is modest.
Oh, now come on now. You know, modest is a skirt that goes down to your ankles. And you are completely covered, no skin showing at all.
Well, I do like those skirts that come down to your ankles, so I'm not gonna gripe on that. But I don't have a problem with that. But there are things that don't come down to your ankles that are modest too. So that's why I say there's not a diagram. But when you look at the men, they seem not to have this modest thing, right?
Although the rule does not say women must dress modest and men can do whatever they want. That is not what the rule says. It says modesty for Israelites. That's kind of it.
Because modesty it goes for men too. I see a lot of men who, in the summertime, because it's hot, walk around without a shirt on. Now, since a broad chest is what is very attractive to me, I think that's not modest at all.
I see what you're saying. I understand. And see, and this is the issue. This is really the point. The point is, it depends on when you come into the belief, and what the people around you are doing. So if I'm just using this as the example. Let's say that you're from, a person is from, the edge of Florida where it's freaking hot, and everybody is in bikinis and shorts all the time. That's what they're wearing. And then that person, their whole wardrobe is made up of that. So now they've decided that they've started to understand, oh wait, I'm an Israelite. Their outfits aren't going to change that day. It's not going to happen because you can't afford to do that. But they may start wearing T-shirts over what they were wearing before. You just don't know. And as they get more and more of an understanding of what the Most High is looking for, developing that personal relationship, they'll start changing their outfits, changing their appearance more to be in line with what they believe.
Right, and they may or they may not start wearing T-shirts, but
I was just using it as the example.
Because, like I said, it really does depend on the people. When Adam and Eve got dressed and he dressed them, it doesn't make it seem like it was this long flowing outfit that covered everything.
Right.
So what I consider modest and what someone else considers modest do not have to be in agreement with each other. But the Bible also says that I have control over my husband's body and that he has control over my body. So, like I said, I don't feel that a man not wearing a shirt is modest. So I won't let my husband just go out not wearing a shirt. I think that if I'm attracted to the chest, other people may be too, and I don't want them looking at my husband's chest. Because that's mine. So I can veto what he wants to wear, and he can veto what I want to wear. And I think that is a pretty good arrangement. When it comes to children, the parents get to choose what they wear and what they don't wear. When it comes to a married couple, then that man and that woman get to choose what they can wear or what they cannot wear. It's not up for someone on the outside to come and look at me and tell me what I can and cannot wear, because the Bible tells women to listen to their husbands. It doesn't tell women to listen to any man who feels like he wants to tell you something. So let's get that understood. When I hear these people out here preaching, and they'll find some woman that they want to make themselves seem as if they have some power or some strength or whatever, so they'll start dogging out this woman. Well, that is just inappropriate. To personalize it. You want to say something to a group that could be to anybody, okay, then do that. But if you want to call someone out personally in a crowd and start talking down to them, you are wrong, because there's a way in order to do everything and anything, and that is not an appropriate way. You're just you're sending them running from the Most High instead of bringing them to the Most High. Private conversation, maybe that's more appropriate, but still, you should be speaking to her husband or her parents instead of trying to make this woman feel bad. You know, the Bible says to say things with love. So if you come up to me and you say, you know, hey miss, I was just seeing that I don't think that what you have on is appropriate, and you do it in private, then I'll listen. I might listen to what you have to say because you're not trying to embarrass me. You're trying to do something that you believe is right or good for me. But this calling people out in the street and just embarrassing them, everything, you are wrong. You are wrong. How can you say that you're from the Most High and you're acting like some damn idiot? So I don't care what you have to say, because you came wrong and you are the one who was supposed to know better. So if you come in like that, shut the hell up and go away. just do that.
All right, let's hit another one. Let's hit another one real quick. And these are just videos that we've seen most recently where street preachers just lose their mind over the way women are dressed, which is what you were just talking about. Over, I'm trying to think of another good example. The women dressed one, that one just, I just can't get over that.
A lot of these street preachers, when I see them, they tend to try to nitpick little bitty things, and it's not that I'm saying that some things are more or less important than other things, because I'm not. But what I'm saying is that if I don't understand that I need to be following the Most High and that He has laws and rules that I need to follow, then nitpicking on one of those rules I've broken is stupid. You know, you've got to have a base before you can move into other things. And I think this is why a lot of people misunderstand Paul's letters, because he's trying to go back and give a base and then explain things from the they know nothing point of view to get them to understanding what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, you got another thing for us?
Well, let's see. We did relationships. We did dress. I think I'm good.
I want to hit on one more just for a second. We did do dress. We did modest, right? But I want to talk about pants for a moment.
Go ahead.
Just for a second. I got to talk about pants. So, there is no specific rule that says women cannot wear pants or women can wear pants, or it doesn't work that way. As you look it up in the Bible, it does say that men cannot wear things that pertain to a woman, and women should not wear things that pertain to a man. Now, I only bring this up because this one just irks the crap out of me. I cannot stand this. They'll see a woman who is or is not an Israelite. We don't. When I say we don't know what she believes. We just have no idea what she believes. This is literally just somebody walking by, and some street preachers will start yelling at this woman for wearing pants when she does or does not know anything about the law. Nothing. She may not know a thing about the law. She's just wearing pants because that's what she's wearing that day. And instead of saying, you know, she may or may not, you don't know anything. It's just, she just literally has on fabric that wraps around her legs. So now we're going to yell at her.
And then they tell her that she can't wear pants because that's breaking this law that a woman can't wear what a man does. Well, you know, there's women pants and man pants, so it doesn't seem to be breaking that law. That's stupid. And then they'll say something like, well, you know, see, pants have zippers, right? What is the zipper for? To zip up the pants. Oh, well, see, women don't need zippers. So since it has a zipper, it's gotta be for a man. And I think, well, I got dresses with zippers. I have skirts with zippers. Are those for men?
Yeah, this is a thing, and that's what happens when you take a rule and try to, as it says, you should not go to the left or go to the right with it. The rule actually says modesty, and the rule actually says a man should not wear what is pertained to a woman, and a woman should not wear what is pertained to a man. That's all the rule says. And I think it is purposely vague like that so that as an Israelite, you can look at any given thing and make some sort of determination about it. Inside of your family group. I mean, inside of, me and you talking together, talk about these things. We have...
Well, I don't know. I don't think there is a decision to be made. If it's back in the day, all people wore these robes or
Right.
dresses,
Right. Yeah.
And there were robes that were styled for men.
Mm-hmm.
There were robes that were styled for women.
Right.
So the woman wouldn't put on a robe that was styled for a man.
Exactly.
The man wouldn't put on a robe that was styled for a woman.
That's exactly what I mean.
So if it's made for a woman, then you can't wear it. So if you buy some Lee jeans, do they make them?
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, and you go to the women's section to pick them up, men, you can't wear them. If you buy some Lee jeans, women, and you go to the men's section to pick them out, you can't wear them because one is made for a woman and one is made for a man. To say that men are the only ones that can wear pants, well, okay, find that in the Bible. It's not in there. You can't find it. Go ahead, I'll wait. Nope, I'm not, because it's not in there. So, you can say that, well, this man was told to put on pants before he did this. Therefore, pants are made for men. Well, that's not what he was told to put on. He was told to put on underwear. But either way, even if that was true, then all it says is before you go into this place, you have to have on pants. It doesn't say that every man has to wear pants or that women can't wear pants. So this is what they want, so they choose to do it. Because I also see these same men who say that women can't wear pants will have their women put on leggings or something and say, well, that's fine. Well, leggings are pants. So you're hypocrites. If your woman can wear leggings, then you are being a hypocrite when you say that women can't wear pants because they're made for men. Oh no, these pants are made for women. Well, every pants that is in the women's section are made for women. Your women seem to wear high heel shoes a lot, and they were traditionally made for men. So then why do your women have on high heels that were made for men? If that, I mean, it's just lunacy.
Right. Now, okay. Here, so let me kind of go back to the actual idea here. What is the point? As a couple, we are trying to get to the Most High. If you notice, I keep going there because that's the whole point. Trying to get to the Most High and trying to understand what it is He wants. So we discuss different types of clothing. We discuss who owns what, where it came from. We discuss it in our attempt to understand and have our relationship with the Most High. That's what it comes down to. That's it. That's always the goal. So when it comes to what you're wearing, like we couldn't, when we first became Israelites, we could not afford fringes. We didn't have the money for that. We couldn't afford it. So we have slowly worked our way to getting fringes, getting a better understanding of what the Most High wanted. We started off with big, long, giant tassels for a while and then moved to actual fringes onto the outfits and those type of things. But as a couple, we tried to understand what the Most High wanted from us. And that's the thing. It's not a matter of here's the Bible. I've read this one line, so therefore I can just do whatever I want. As a man or as a woman, that's not how it works. You're supposed to be trying to develop that relationship with the Most High, understand what He wants, and then using the resources He's provided to you to get there. That's it. So if a woman has leggings and she's wearing leggings, that can be fine. If she's got skirts, that can be fine. Guys working the same sort of thing, a guy with shorts or a guy with long pants, it can be fine if there's an understanding in the couple, and that's what you're trying to do, is get to the Most High. That's it. I mean, it's not for somebody else out in the world to look at you and say what you're doing is just yell at you because it doesn't match with what I think it ought to be.
I mean, you see, there's an instance in the Bible where this man is upset, and he takes off all of his clothes, and he just starts, he's wailing and he's bemoaning naked. I couldn't imagine what would have happened if some of these camps had been on the street corner at that time, and what they would have done and said to this person who was worshiping the Most High, or
naked, wandering the streets, yeah.
or people have put on sackcloth and ripped it open. What would be said by these people yelling on the street corner, trying to garner attention to themselves? I don't know. It just, you can't just judge a book by its cover. I can be doing the best that I can and never meet up to your standards. And so, but my job is not to meet up to your standards. My job is to meet up to what the Most High has for me. And it's one thing for the Most High to give me fringes and I say I'm not going to wear them, versus He hasn't seen fit at this time to provide a way for me to get fringes, or whatever it is that someone feels that I should have or be doing.
Right. Okay. So, thank you all so very much for taking the last hour or so to listen to us talk about relationships. Hopefully, this will spark you in your relationship. Either that relationship with the Most High or the relationship between you and your significant other, to go back to the Most High, read the Bible, talk about all the aspects of your relationship, and improve upon it. Because the goal is to always get to the Most High.
Remember, it's your relationship. So you, along with your mate, need to define it. And don't allow someone on the outside to try and force you into what their definition of your relationship is. The Most High left it open for you all to come together as a couple and define it. So don't let someone take that from you.
One last thing, I also want to stress the importance of women in the relationship and individually. The Most High did not put one above the other. They are a unit. They are to come together and become one flesh. So they are one unit together. And I don't want Israelites to forget that, because it always seems like to me that the Israelites out in the world right now making videos and those type of things are only talking about half of the nation. Women are the other half. And it all needs to come together to be one thing.
You sound like a simp.
You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I love my wife. I do things for her. She loves me. She does things for me. If that is your definition of simp, hey, you can say what you want. I don't care. It don't bother me. The Most High has put me into this place with you, and I'm very happy He has done it. It would be horrible for me to be alone. That's all there is to it. And if people want to say, oh, you're a simp because you care about your wife, then you're an idiot.
I think, like I said, you just sound like a simp.
That's fine. You can say what you want.
Kind of like, what's his name? Jacob, who gave himself over to slavery for 14 years for one stupid woman that's just going to cook and clean. It just doesn't.
No, he got 2 women out of that deal. That was 14 years for 2 women.
One of them.
Well, that's maybe true. He may only
And
wanted.
I mean, cooking and cleaning. What difference does it make which one you have?
It makes a huge difference.
Simp.
Whatever. You can say what you want. I don't care. When I look at the men in the Bible, right? Look at Abraham. All right? Abraham's going south into Egypt early on in the story.
He was a simp too.
You can say what you want.
Abraham was a simp. Jacob was a simp.
Stop. He knew how beautiful his wife was, and he knew that the nation he was going into would straight up kill him if they saw his wife and knew he was married. So he's like, listen, dear, look, I know this sucks, but I need you to get in this box, and we're going to try to sneak across here.
Adam was a simp?
Stop.
Wow, the whole Israelite nation started off as a bunch of simping men.
You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you like, and it's a bad joke. But you say whatever you want. They loved their wives. That's what it comes down to. They loved their wives.
Oh, you love me.
Yeah, that's right. I do love you. But in any event, thank you all once again for sticking with us for this entire thing. Check us out on Facebook or any of those other places we happen to be at. Hopefully this video has gotten you to open up your Bibles.
And talk to your mate.
Absolutely. And spend a little time talking to your mate and to the Most High. Do you have anything else for us?
Bye.
I'm your king and you're my queen.